So I decided to do some ribs today. Shouldn't take more than 5 or 6 hours. Getting the grill set up. I've got the heating element in. I've got my coals in with wood chips. I've got my temperature sensor plugged in. I don't know if you can see that or not. And just waiting for it to come up to temp. In the meantime, I'll go ahead and get the ribs set up and ready to roll. Well, here are the beef ribs. I picked them up at the local HEB yesterday. Just standard plate ribs. I didn't realize until recently that in order to get beef ribs, that first you need to call to see if they have them, and secondly, you need to ask for uncut short ribs. Now, you don't really need to do a whole lot from what I've seen other people preparing beef ribs. If you wanted to take the step and maybe trim up some of the silver skin away, you could. But honestly, it's going to be on the fire for a while. I think from what I've seen also, you want to keep the membrane on back here because it actually helps hold the bones and meat together without separating too much. So what happens as you smoke these, the meat starts to constrict and there's some significant separation from the bone, but it shrinks down and it bulges up, and it's actually quite tasty when it's done correctly. So what I'm going to do today is just throw on some salt and pepper, and as a little bit of a extra, I'm going to probably lay down a little thin layer of sriracha on these. Why not? It's a learning experience, so let's see what happens with that. So I've got my sriracha laid down, so now I'm just going to add on some salt and pepper, liberally adding salt and pepper to the top, sides. I'm not sure I'm going to do much with the bottom, as you know, the bones are down there. So yeah, let's see. So this is the salt and pepper that I typically use on my briskets. Sea salt. This particular pepper is the Southside Market Premium 6-pepper seasoning. Has a little bit of a kick to it. I like the flavor. And so what you don't want to do is, what I typically do is actually leave these out and let it get to room temperature. But I don't necessarily think that's required of beef ribs. I don't know. But what I am doing now is just letting it rest here while my smoker gets to temperature. And as soon as it gets to temp, I'm going to throw them on there, bone side down. So you want to do that to keep the meat protected from the heat. And as the smoke rises, it'll infuse the flavors, you know, imparting its deliciousness and all that sorcery into here. So yeah, smoker coming up to temp, burning off some residual coals from the last time. The smoke is billowing out. You notice that it's well, that's not the right color we want. So once we get it to temp, we'll bring it down. All right, it's about 12:12. The grill is settled in nicely. It's hovering at around 230. I'll probably crank it up a little bit to about 245, 250, maybe in about 3 hours or so. But I want to keep this as low and slow as possible, and we'll check in on it when it's done. Well, I meant to record pulling them off the grill, but we've gone ahead and cut into them. This is what it looks like. Doesn't quite have the bark that I wanted, but the flavor is actually pretty good.